Hello, great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever this conversation finds you. I am Travis Gray, and today we are transforming with our guest, Margaret Kirschner. She is a certified mental health professional through the American Center for the Integration of Spiritually Transformative Experiences, ACISTE. I wanted to say that in full because not everybody knows ACISTE. She's a certified trauma-sensitive yoga therapist, alcohol and drug counselor, and a birth doula. I wasn't quite sure what a birth doula was, but it's super fascinating because she assists in the labor, the whole birthing process, and what a powerful place to be in, or to have the opportunity to be in those birthing places so often through people's lives. It's really great. So, Margaret, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me here.
Great, absolutely. First off, I'm just interested, I'm curious, where did your professional journey start? How did you get into this area of yoga therapy, trauma assisted yoga therapy, assist? How did you get into these things? Being a birth doula would be great.
Yeah, well, I got into yoga first, and that was through my stress as a new parent
Mhm.
with a child, two children, but one child with some special needs. He's on autism spectrum. And so I was pretty stressed and really looking for something to ease my nerves and found yoga. And the first time I went to a class, I said, "Where has this been all my life?" And of course, it had been around and I had known about it and was never interested until my life was really, in need of it.
Mhm.
And so learned yoga and meditation at about the same time and found great value in those two modalities. And then I reviewed my own birth experiences with the two children and decided that I wanted to teach prenatal yoga.
Mhm.
And so I did that for a little while at a OBGYN's office, which was really wonderful. And that led me on the path to wanting to become a birth doula.
Mhm.
And that was such an exciting time for me because I really resonated with the challenges of motherhood and parenting, for fathers as well. But particularly, through the body of a woman, giving birth and then becoming a new mom and parenting and just everything that entails fascinated me and really wanted to help women to rediscover and reconnect with their own body's amazing capacities. And so that was a wonderful phase, which lasted all the way through 2020 when I
Mhm.
accompanied the last couple in their birth. And I somehow knew that that would be the last birth that I attended, and not that I won't ever attend again. If someone were to ask me again, I'd jump at the chance. But I just stopped advertising myself. And Eddie and I, we have a business called A Mindful Emergence. And up until the pandemic and COVID in 2020, we were going out to treatment centers and we would teach yoga and meditation there. And that all stopped. And we decided we're going to do something all by ourselves on our own to become entrepreneurs. And we had to kind of pivot and figure out what to do with our business. And we thought that we would be continuing to serve people in addiction recovery or people who have had spiritual experiences that were unintegrated. Perhaps they were overwhelmed by some of the difficulties, physically or mentally that came through having had a spiritual emergence process or emergency, which is a little bit more of a crisis.
Yeah.
And we also started to explore the psychedelic realm. And we didn't really intend to become space holders. mentors is what we're calling ourselves, mentors and space holders.
Mhm.
But that's the majority of our work these days.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible. So it sounds like initially you were looking for some self-healing. You needed some self-care time. That is how you discovered yoga. Then through yoga, you decided through your birthing experiences, you wanted to be with other mothers to make that process a little bit easier for them. And that has expanded to you being able to. I didn't tell viewers at the beginning, but you are the second half of A Mindful Emergence with Eddie Lasher, which other people that have seen these podcasts will have seen that episode, I hope. And if not, go back there now. But as one half of A Mindful Emergence, what is it like to be working with your partner in this realm of drug and alcohol addiction counseling and mentoring and all of those things? What is that like for you to be a space holder with your partner?
It's been incredibly natural and satisfying, and it has really helped our relationship evolve, deepen, and grow. We first got into this business that we're calling A Mindful Emergence, which refers to being mindful as we are emerging from our difficulties.
Yeah.
And we've typically pointed toward recovery, recovering from addictive behaviors and substances, because that has been our path and our licensing. He's a person in long-term recovery. I haven't experienced actual substance misuse, but I have been I hate this term, but it's codependent, really giving myself away to an extreme, feeling like I want to manage other people's emotions. And I didn't realize that that's what I was doing. So that's been a long road to discovering who I am.
Yeah.
So, back to your original question, how is it to be in relationship and to have this business together?
Do you experience challenges? You said that it's very nourishing, it sounds like. I think that would be very clear to anybody in our field that having the opportunity to work with your partner, and as transformative as it can be to work with people one-on-one or with couples, just the therapist is also transforming all the time. The counselor, the mentor is also transforming while you're working with people. But to be able to share in some of those or all of those experiences with your partner, really incredible. But maybe some challenges are coming up as well. What is that like for you, the two of you?
Yeah, that is true. Yes, there are challenges. We get irritated with each other. Sure. And impatient. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so there's all of the common, things that you would expect. But overall, I think it has been very nourishing. We're growing together. Mm-hmm. We have the same goal in mind. And we love to just sit on the couch, after we've done something together, a workshop or met with a client together, been through some sort of a training together, and we'll kind of decompress and review and debrief. And, there's always some good stuff that comes out of it. We'll say, oh, let's do it this way next time. Or I really liked it when you said that. Or then we kind of tweak things, and he'll say, and when you said that might not have come across that, And so we're helping each other grow. And it's not without its challenges, for sure.
That's awesome to have the soundboard that was also involved in the experience to work on the constructive ways to better the practice, better the facilitation of those spaces. That's amazing. It's so often we are encouraged as coaches, mentors, therapists, all of these things where we are encouraged to have our own therapist or our own supervision. Definitely in the licensed track of things, you're encouraged to have your own supervisor, just so that you have another outlook, another third party in the process of holding the space for others. To have that with your partner, I'm sure that those have been very nourishing conversations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really cool. So, what have been some of the most transformative, impactful experiences in your life or practices that you have brought into your life?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is breathing.
Sure.
Breathing.
Yeah.
Just noticing that I can take a deep breath. I can feel that in my body. I can exhale and feel it moving through. And anytime I'm taking a deep breath, which I invite you to do right now, you are immediately back in your body, out of your head, and in the present moment. So it's like, this little mini meditation that we carry around with us wherever we go. And when I first learned yoga, I discovered just moving my body in particular ways, just a posture, a way of extending my arms or pressing down through the bottoms of my feet, or whatever it may be, that allowed me to connect with the physicality of being human
Yeah.
and having choices and being present to the little nuances, the little tweaks I can do as I'm standing or as I'm twisting or as I'm bending forward or backward. There's all of these little feelings that I can now tune into, and that brings me directly into the present moment experience.
Mhm.
And it gives me a feeling of choice.
Yeah.
I have the choice.
Yeah, I love that. A mini meditation that you're always carrying with you, and it does give you a choice. There's a lot of I've been interested in our sort of like autonomic nervous system, and the things that are happening as a part of that autonomic nervous system, which are things like breathing, heartbeat, our eyes blinking. Some of those I didn't think about initially. Oh, our blinks are also automatic, and we have control. Our breath happens very automatically, but we also have control. There's this certain like nostril flare. There's certain little muscles in the face that are happening automatically, and we do have some control over them. And it's really incredible that we can use our breath. We can just be just a slight shift in your ability to just be mindful of your breath through the day. People are living their lives for years. They're living their lives breathing only enough to survive, and
Yeah.
not being just slightly mindful. It's just such a small shift. It's so simple, but it is profound. It's impactful. It's really incredible what the breath can do for our bodies.
You are so right about that. And sometimes when we're not aware of our breathing and we're just breathing shallowly, that can be a good response to move the pain down. But if we do it all the time, our muscles of respiration, the diaphragm and through the rib cage and up in the chest and even up into the neck and the shoulders, they get tighter and shorter. And then if we try to take a deep breath, it's difficult. And so we need to stretch out those muscles. So that process of moving from kind of constricted to, decreasing that pain, it could be emotional, it could be physical pain, to starting to open up our capacity to feel more, which includes feeling more pain, but it also includes the other end of the spectrum, feeling more joy and connection. That is a process, and that might not happen easily or quickly, but we can work with that in small, simple, repeated moments throughout the day.
Yeah.
to just notice, maybe putting our hands on our belly or hands on the rib cage or hands on the upper chest or hands around the neck area, and just taking a breath and noticing how that feels. It doesn't have to be a big one, it's just a little bit more than what you typically do.
Yeah, I like that. I like that you're speaking about the choice that's sort of what I was trying to point at too. With there's certain automatic things that are happening, but the choice to stretch, or the choice to stretch out your diaphragm, the choice to breathe a little deeper, is such a powerful small choice to make. And it's just there's a momentum there. There's a oh well, today I've decided to join a mindful emergence workshop around breath, and that is this one choice that I'm making today, to be a little more mindful, to expand my awareness of my own breathing or shallow breathing, so that I can have it a little better, stretch out my body, stretch out my diaphragm, strengthen those things. And then the next day I am a little more mindful. Now I'm breathing, now I'm continuing to make that choice. And there's other choices that we make on a day-to-day basis that we resist, because we're not making some of these small choices that would kind of like building a foundation of really just really our volitional things. Our ability to make those decisions is really, really valuable, really important. I love the breath as a body mind anchor. That's often how I've spoken about it in meditations, and the way that you're speaking about it in connection to yoga and the expanding with the body is really great. How do you usually incorporate breath into some of your counseling, some of the workshops and things that you do?
Great. Yeah. Well, when we can take a deep breath, as I said, we come back into our body. So let's say we're having an experience that's uncomfortable.
Mhm.
It can be only slightly uncomfortable. Maybe there's a little irritation, or maybe it's really uncomfortable. Like, oh my gosh, there's so much anxiety in my system right now. If we can let that next exhale be just a little bit longer than the inhale was, we can start to tell our nervous system, hey, come down a notch. And then we do it again, that next exhale, a little bit longer. And maybe we purse our lips and we hear that breath come out as we make a little sound. And then again, it's like, okay, nervous system, come on down another notch. And we do that for maybe 5, 6 breaths. It's incredible how quickly we can start to titrate that nervous system down, like turning the volume down, but we're doing it slowly. It's not like, boom, we turn the volume down in one swooping action. We're going slowly, which teaches our nervous system and our brain too, all the parts that are freaking out in the moment, hey, we can be here and we can take it down slowly, slowly, slowly. So we're not like going from 0 to 60 or 60 to 0 all at once, which can be very, what would be the word? It's not a smooth journey. It's very abrupt. And that could be another source of stress. So everything that we're offering is built on the foundation of compassion and simplicity.
Yeah.
Compassion meaning, we're human. And it's hard to be human. And so we recognize difficulty and we give ourselves permission to fail and to have difficulty. And then we want to make it simple. So instead of trying to take a big step, we take many small steps and we repeat it throughout the day or days or weeks or months. And before you know it, you look back and you say, you know what, that thing that used to really take me down or piss me off no longer does that so much. And I'm not sure when that happened or how it happened, but over the course of whatever it may be, days or weeks or months, you start to realize that things are shifting and changing for the better.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like the metaphor. I really love the focus on the exhales. Is that's really an important aspect to the breath when you're calming your nervous system, the training of your nervous system. I've been working a lot recently with ice baths. I've had an opportunity to get into cold plunges, and I haven't really focused on breath too much, even though breath work is a fundamental aspect of my practice and facilitation and in many ways. But in the cold, I'm really more in a mental place. The way that I've been working with the cold, but the exhale, when I have helped others when they are a little excited by the cold and their nervous system is reacting to this very uncomfortable experience, that's when those exhales are really necessary to find a stillness and incorporating the inner tools so that you can train the nervous system to handle that external adversity of the cold. But what I'm thinking of right now is you had spoke about the like abrupt. It's not abrupt changes. The abrupt changes are the problems of an untrained nervous system. They're short breaths. It's anxious and it's like raising in the body. It's getting up here and it's short and it's tight in the chest and it's like enmeshed boundaries. It's like you're saying yes to everything. It's not grounding, but you have to be patient because our brain waves are waves, and if you watch the ocean it is only abrupt when rocks are thrown into the ocean, and like big boulders are thrown in, then that's going to kind of like capsize this wave and earlier than it was supposed to go down. But if it was just smooth, that breath, that anchor of the body and mind through the breath allows that a smooth transition to a lower state, to a not a lower state, but a more grounded state, a state of a little more control over that nervous system.
Absolutely, I like that metaphor.
Yeah, I'm sure you think about that a lot with being a birth doula and breath. Well, how I guess I'm just personally very curious in the birth doula today since I looked it up. But how have those like and breath work? We all are very aware that breath work and birthing. And I guess in these terms, I'm also thinking metaphorically, like the ocean metaphor with the breath and the waves and all of those things and brain waves, but then also just like I have deep interest in the birthing of things into the world, birthing of ideas into manifested reality, having those be emergent things. And that is what is happening in such a magical way for a mother birthing, you as a mother having birthed into the world and then helped others birth humans into the world. What is that relationship to breath? Can you speak some words on that?
Sure, that's an interesting question too.
Yeah.
So when we are emerging from anything, it's as though we are giving birth to ourselves. So whether it's giving actual birth to a human baby or giving birth to a business or relationship, or in the case of, moving through a plant medicine journey, we're giving birth to something. And it is a process, it has a beginning, it has a middle, it has an ending. And that breath is with us throughout. And if we are to move through the experience with a minimum of trauma and pain, we can manage our nervous system through the breath. So often when, as you were describing, when we're anxious or when we are having pain or when there is an uncertain situation that is unfolding before us, if we are freaking out, that breath will be the first bodily symbol to show that, you know? And so if we can find that we can control it, and ideally we do this prior to a stressful event, so we do it whenever we can, and we continue to do it throughout our lives because we don't really know when stress is going to show up. But in the case of being pregnant, birthing woman, let's just take that for an example. As a birth doula, I would get together with the couple many, many times before the actual birth takes place.
Yeah.
And so we practice how to open to uncertainty and pain. And we can use the breath and settle that nervous system down so that the muscles and the sound of the breath and our thoughts that go along with what is happening is all turning toward the very best outcome. Like we can envision it, we can work with the sensations of the body through the breath. And if we get scared and the pain becomes overwhelming, that's when the birth doula is really helpful to remind the person, hey, remember what we practiced? Let's breathe together, and get right in front of her. And we both start to mirror, you know, I mirror, and then she hopefully will respond. And so when we're in any other situation in our lives where we know that, you know, there might be some challenge, you know, maybe it's a work situation, or maybe it is relationship challenges, which we all have, or maybe you are exploring some of these consciousness realms through breath work, through meditation, through yoga, and you bump up against, you know, a memory or a bodily sensation that, you know, you're dealing with pain, or you're dealing with a physical illness, or you're dealing with something that happened in your life that was very trauma invoking. You can take that breath back to the experience and just breathe through it. Allow yourself to soften your muscles, and then say something like, I can be with this, you know, in your mind, turning your thoughts in the direction of, what is this teaching me in this moment? How can I say yes and be present with it without running away from it?
Yeah.
Because the fear and the pain can really create a lot of constriction.
Yeah, that training prior to the event, that's really important. And that's what we do in facilitating spaces like that. People like maybe are having a hard time with going to seek the guidance that they maybe need or could be benefiting from, because at the moment that something happens, they are not prepared for the thing that happens, and the person that would help them would help guide them through that situation is not there with them in the moment that event is happening. So like the birthing process as that, you know, maybe a traumatic experience is a birthing process. It's a birthing of a new existence on the other side of that, things like this. But because of that, people are maybe discouraged, internally discouraged from seeking the guidance or the mentorship that would really help them. But even with psychedelic experience, and I was just telling Margaret before we started this that I had watched a really great video. You articulated very well that beginning, middle, and end, the aspects of that to me is the aspects of that an experience with psychedelic substances is you get more out of it the more that you have been prepared to be in it, you know. So the set and setting is not just it's maybe not just a two off, it's maybe a third thing, which is preparatory as well. So you prep that set and setting That's usually something that people say a lot, set and setting for that psychedelic experience. But whenever I facilitate that sort of medicinal experience with somebody, we always have prior session, or we always have previous sessions that have happened before that experience. We have the experience in sitting with somebody that is familiar, that they're familiar to, and in the process, and comforted and held by, and are familiar with being held by that person. Like, this is not a stranger. And then in the post of that experience, that integration process, what we've done in the preparatory work or with the breath work, all of that, that is helping at all three of those stages, and so incredible.
Yeah. We are big on preparation. We offer 3 preparation sessions.
Great.
One of them is breath work. Another one is all of these skills, the breathing, the ways that we can move our bodies to be with the experience, and the way that we are thinking about the experience, watching the mind and turning the mind toward what's happening rather than away from it.
Absolutely.
And then integration, even more important. I think that that's the most important piece of the whole journey. And we really think that the integration into the body, the somatic experience of taking the revelations, the insights, the good stuff that happened in the journey, and then weaving that into our everyday lives, especially into the physical, posture of the body, or the gestures that we decide to do as a result of whatever happened in the journey. Maybe there was an experience where you put your arms out, or you hugged yourself, or you shook, or anything at all. We want to repeat some of those helpful, supportive, body-based practices that reinforce the new neural pathways that we're opening up during. And that way, then we can start to let the other pathways that were not so supportive, or maybe even destructive, kind of wear away over time. Mm-hmm. We want to really emphasize how to make sense and meaning of the experience in the body.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it and talking about it, although that's good too.
Yeah, it's really amazing. That is finding the meaning there is that integrative piece to it. That is how integration is happening. So, does anything come to mind for some profound experiences, or a story of how you have facilitated or held space for another person?
Sure. Yeah. So many.
Is there anything that is that particularly stands out as something that was really transformative for you to have sat with somebody?
Yeah. Recently, we had someone come to us, and he had been drinking, not to the degree where he identified as an alcoholic, but drinking to excess so that it had negative consequences for his relationships, his marriage in particular. And there have been some studies that point to the effectiveness of psilocybin use and the reduction of drinking. Mm-hmm. And so he came and had an experience, and it was difficult at the beginning, the coming up phase. There was a lot of challenging emotions and feelings, and it was scary. It was very scary. And at one point he said, "Can we make this stop now?" Mm-hmm. And so I just encouraged him, this is normal, this is natural, this will have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Is there any way that you can turn toward what is happening? Say yes to it. Soften around the edges, even just a little bit, like 2%, 10%. And so eventually, he gave that a try. Although it was very difficult. And that turned into an experience where he was feeling like he was doing battle with something internally, emotionally, energetically. There was this back and forth, kind of like a labor, where he would contract and then he would expand and then he'd contract again. And it was visibly apparent. And there were no words. He was making certain, vocalizations, but without the words. So we just held space, made sure that he was comfortable and he was moving a bit, but basically stayed in one spot, lying down position. After a long time of doing that, he jumped up off the couch, spread his arms out, and declared, "It's gone. Mm-hmm. It's gone." And he's looking around and he's like, and it was emphatic. And we're just looking at him like, just kind of like, all right. And just watching him, just not really saying much, just like we stood up too, because that just felt natural. He began to hug us. And it was, go to Eddie, go to me. And then eventually he just sat down, he just starts rocking. And he just kept repeating expletives, and that's effing amazing. It's and he'd hold his head and he'd like, I can't believe. So there was this big expression mm-hmm. of both triumph mm-hmm. and then like, how do I integrate it? How do I bring this back into my body? So there was a long time too of just kind of, rocking, moving his body, kind of moving, and hands on head, hands on his heart. And then finally he became quiet, lie down again, breathing, very, very deeply, hands on his heart, a lot of gratitude. Coming down phase was very sweet and gentle for him. So in the integration phase, we held space for the possibility that this might not last, but also held hope for it lasting. And it's been, I would say, it might have been 5 weeks ago. And so far, it's lasting. So we will see. Time will tell. But it was an incredible experience. And the one thing I want to say is that when we took notes, so I was just writing, and he has the notes too. And he brought up the subject of that expression. Mm-hmm. And he said, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to do that again and again. So, standing up like a victory stance, like with the legs spread apart, the arms out wide, like the shape of V for victory. And can you imagine if any of us just did that right now, how that might feel like success, like victory, like open and bold and big and strong, right? Do that for yourself right now. Yeah. And so if that comes through in a journey, wow, what a power that entails, that we can bring that home to our everyday and repeat it, even when we're not feeling that way. Just letting the nervous system know, hey, this is what I want. This is what is in me. This is what I know is possible.
That's great. It sounds like during the experience, post aha moment, peak of the experience, he was almost, it sounds to me like he's searching for a way to keep this here. How can I hang on to this? How can I hold on to this? And through the integrative experience, through talking about that with somebody that had facilitated, sat there with him in that experience, was able to discover, look, this posture, this was it. And then I imagine that you can have a conversation about what was it that it is gone. What is gone? What is the it that is gone? And how can we hold on to it? Well, this posture helps us hold on to the feeling of it finally being gone. And then the other ways, the other discussions that are had, and the other meaning that is applied to the experience to integrate it for life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the thing that was gone in his reporting, his own words, it was a friend that wasn't, it was something that was trying to be his friend, but it wasn't his friend. It was saying, come on, do it. Just do it. You can do it. And he's like, that's not helping. You're not my friend. So it was like a battle. It was a fight, an internal fight with someone who was trying to be his friend, but had another agenda for him.
Mhm.
And then afterward, he said, I feel so much space.
Mhm.
There's so much energy now. I don't, I feel lighter. He was
Yeah.
using those words. So I can imagine too, when we lose something like anxiety or let that go away, or something that's had a grip on us, that there might be this feeling of a lot of internal space. And that can be a little foreign and odd and weird and awkward. And so that can present its own set of problems, I would imagine.
Yeah, it is powerful to feel this lifting of a very heavy weight that has been weighing on for you for a significant period of time, anxiety because of something, or whatever it may be. The reality of it's nice to hear that you are gentle, and the reality of it might come back, but we're holding hope that it will stay gone, to some degree, to some truly integrated piece of what was valuable in the experience, is really important, because the there's so much of this a talk of like ego deaths and ego falling away, but ego is also can be looked at however somebody else may look at it. But for me, the ego is a developmental practice. It's a developmental process. And so while having it drop away for a little bit is great, it gives you a very empowering sensation of maybe being found in some way. That can be some of the themes that are discovered in that death of an ego, or that experienced death of an ego. But when that comes back, the integration piece is like putting these pieces back together in a way that you are more whole, that you're greater than the sum of the parts that you have added back to you. And I think that's beautiful that you're able to hold that very gently with him. Like it very realistically, you could turn around and this could overcome you again. Maybe you need more sessions, or maybe you need more sessions with the medicine, or maybe you need more integration work, or maybe something longer in terms of a program or a process to unravel and weave this together better. But we are holding hopes that this does stay gone, that this does have that tremendous, powerful impact that you came here seeking. Yeah.
Great. Yes, great point. That I think is where meditation and movement, and
Mm-hmm.
again, the breath work can come into play, so that when we notice the old habits coming back in, the old thoughts forms coming back in, and mostly they are habits, we can be present to it. We can notice, oh, there's that old thought again. Or, oh yeah, there's me doing that thing that I do, or and I know I don't want to do it anymore. I know that that's just a habit. So to be mindful and to really look at it with compassion and spaciousness, then we have the choice. Oh, do I still want to do that? Or do I want to switch it to this other way that I remember coming up for me when I was in that journey, this more compassionate, supportive way of thinking or moving my body? Or I can take a breath and I can say, oh, yeah, I understand that old anxiety. That's a habit that's been with me for 40 years or whatever, many years. But now I have all these other tools and these other ways of looking at it. Oh, let me reinforce that new neural pathway.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we make change, little by little, small increments, repeated over the course of the days and the weeks and the months. So it's
And
not a magic bullet that says, okay, here's the reset button.
right. It is not a magic bullet, and I think that's really powerful. Of this kind of a new thought, this transpersonal psychology, this new ways of integrating the Eastern wisdom with the Western science, and it's really important that we kind of get away, move away from psychiatry's insistence on that sort of magic bullet thing, but it is to create new neural pathways to really build, integrate, create a new nervous system homeostasis. And some of I really love this term of homeostatic disruption. And so that some of the experiences, the traumatic experiences, many exceptional human experiences with psychedelic medicine or even just breath work, no medicine involved, can get you to an experience like this. That's the work of Stanislav Grof. And in our conversation with Eddie, we had spoke about Stanislav Grof, so I'm sure you're familiar as well. And that the nature of that homeostatic disruption gives you the opportunity to come back and reintegrate and learn and create a new stasis, a new homeostasis for your nervous system. So your thoughts are now changing. Your body is now physically having there are physical effects that are happening in the gray matter, and the different areas of your brain are activating, and that is what creates the hopeful, forward, flourishing new life that you're continuing to build and grow and develop.
It is so exciting. That's neuroplasticity, and we all have that capacity.
Yeah.
We offer online integrative breathwork, just what you're talking about. We can send a music file, we can put in our earbuds or headphones, put an eye mask on, just breathe for for an hour in a certain way. And yes, we have this capacity to create new neural pathways. And then afterward, we reinforce them, and we do shift and change over time. Maybe incrementally and in small ways, or for some people, it might be in big ways. Whoa. But yes, we are all throughout our entire lives, we are in the process of transformation.
Yeah.
We have a friend of ours, and he said to me one time, which I love, "You're Margareting." So you're Travising. Yeah. You are, Eddieing. Yeah. We're not just static and steady. We're not just this personality that will always be this way. Mm-hmm. So yeah. I find that very refreshing.
That is refreshing, and that's so awesome. And I want to encourage viewers, whatever Margareting or Travising or whatever Ryaning or Eddieing, whatever that is to you, whatever your name is as a verb, you are a verb, and fall in love with that action. Fall in love with your Margareting, fall in love with your Travising. It's a beautiful idea. Even the downs, the ups and the downs, the whole journey makes it wonderful, makes it worth loving. So that's really beautiful, and a great invitation for people to go visit amindfulemergence.com and join some of those online breathwork workshops. It's there, it's available. There's also a YouTube channel, A Mindful Emergence, where you can watch Margaret speak about really wonderful things very articulately, and Eddie Lashur, who you've seen on the podcast previously, is the other half of the A Mindful Emergence, and so he'll be on that YouTube channel as well. And is there anything else that you would like to let viewers know about? Any last words of wisdom, maybe?
Oh, thank you, Travis. Let's see. Nothing that's really coming to mind. I wasn't thinking about, advertising ourselves or anything, but sure. Yeah, check out our website. If there's something there for you, wonderful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Margaret. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and hopefully we'll get to do this again sometime.
Yeah. Thank you, Travis.
Thank you. Bye. That was a great conversation with Margaret Kirschner. Be sure to check out A Mindful Emergence. The website link will be in the description. And check out the conversation that I had with Eddie Lashur. That is her partner with A Mindful Emergence, as a couple, the work that they are doing in psychedelic integration and healing through breath work and yoga is phenomenal. It's amazing. Thank you so much. I can't wait to have them back on the podcast again. And be sure to comment, like, subscribe, check out the rest of the podcast episodes, and I'll see you later.